Ah, that's a
You're
proper
so
consideration.
nerdy, oh my god! In a heartbeat, I would do it, like all over again.
You do.
You better be careful.
No, I'm saying
Are we gonna have a baby soon?
It's like 500 messages or something.
I know! Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I have met my husband. Have you met Matt? I just thought of that. Anyway, so today we're gonna be talking about adulting tips. A lot of you guys have been asking me to do this video, just basically sharing a little bit about my life experience through uni, through saving up, through getting married and getting a house, so on and so forth. Basically becoming an adult. And I thought, who better than Matt to come on the channel together with me to give you guys a little bit more advice and tips and just basically from our own life experience. Like, I would say we pretty much grew up together and grew into adulting together because we met when I was 19 and he was 21. We were both in first year of uni in SMU.
I think whatever we talk about is not exactly the right way to do anything,
Yeah.
but it's more of like what we did, and different
Basically.
people have different ways to approach things.
Yeah. So first, when and how did we start talking about BTO together?
We started, I think, second year of university. No, actually we applied on the second year of
Yeah.
university. It's better to plan earlier because if you were to graduate and want to get married, then you don't want to wait 4 years for a BTO. So that is why we decided to take the leap of faith that we'll still be together and apply for a house early on in our relationship. I think we were together for 2 years only.
Yeah, like when we actually started applying. If you guys watch our love story Q&A, you will have known that we were dating for quite a while. Dating like before boyfriend, girlfriend. I mean, we both made it very clear that like, you know, if we decide to get into a relationship with each other, the end goal is to get married. Once we got official, I think we already started talking about like, oh, when are we gonna get married? When should we start applying for BTO? I'm not saying that this is something that should be the way, but it's how it worked for us because we are both very similar people when it came to seeing my partner or my boyfriend as my future husband lah. But we do know a lot of friends that found talking about applying for BTO quite a taboo. In this kind of situation, I think what would be good would be like, as a girl, you shouldn't be like, when are you gonna marry me? Are you gonna marry me or not? You know, where are we gonna apply for BTO? Like, instead of coming across as aggressive or like demanding, maybe try to like sit down and talk about it and come from a place where it's like, you know, I really see a future with you and I want to build a future with you. So
I think
yeah.
it's to each his own lah. Different couples handle this topic very, very differently. So it really depends on your relationship and the goals you have as a couple. For those who want to get married, thinking about applying for a BTO early on in the relationship, especially before you officially start work, might be a good idea because for us, it took us about 1.5 or 2 years before we actually got the house.
We got the queue number.
Yeah, as in like we
Till today we haven't got the house
We
yet.
bid it and we failed 4 times until we finally got it before we graduated lah. So that was, on hindsight, a very good decision
To
for
start
us
early.
to start early.
Yeah.
From a finances standpoint, I think that's a wise decision, but it really depends on whether you're ready or not lah.
Yeah, so of course don't rush into it just because of, you know, the financial upside of it. Of course, you have to make sure that your relationship is stable first and hope for the best.
There are also instances where people that we know got the house but ended up not being together, so they just forfeited the down payment.
Yeah.
Which is, I don't know, give and take lah. I mean, it's a
Yeah.
risk that you have to take, but you just see whether it's worth it lah.
So how do you guys manage your finances? Do you split accounts or do you have joint accounts? This is one question that we got quite a lot. Once again, to each its own, to each couple their own.
Yeah,
When we were dating, it was always half-half. Like I said, like we were always in the same phase in life. It's not as if he is like much older and he has already started working, whereas I was still a student. So we were both studying the same year together. So we were both equally as poor students,
Yeah.
right?
When we got engaged or when we got married, I think we are of the same belief that what's mine is yours, what's yours is mine lah.
Yeah.
Regardless of whatever we were doing at that point in time. At that point in time, we already knew what our jobs were, but even before that, we already kind of like understood that once we got married, it would be like a joint finance kind of arrangement.
Yeah.
So
To be honest, it's very
together.
blurred. Not that we are against having a joint account, we are just a bit lazy to do it.
No, no. So in principle, the money that we have belongs to all of us. Like there isn't a your money or my money kind of concept. But in terms of having a real
Maybe.
physical account, if you were to do your research and you know the different banks for the different rates, and we put our money where we can maximize our interest rates. I mean, before all this COVID situation where the interest rates
Sorry,
are the
my
highest.
husband is so nerdy.
But it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense from a practical financial standpoint to actually have a joint account because you cannot maximize the interest rates in in that way. So while we technically think that our money is all the same, but we don't actually have a joint account. Yeah.
Cool
but the
story. I just follow whatever he wants to do lah. Okay, because and this is another question. What does Matt do? He is a banker, so he probably knows his finance stuff more than me. So I do trust him on that. But when it comes to who pays for what, we don't actually have a joint account, but we always do it like 50-50. So even for the house, it's like right now because we are still living with our in-laws, like we don't actually have to do groceries. We don't actually have to pay for utilities or stuff like that. So when the time comes, I also believe it's gonna be probably like you take care of the utilities, I take care of the groceries, you take care of the whatever, and I'll take care of whatever. So it's very blurred. But I think for those of you guys, if you guys are worried like, oh, my husband earns a lot more than me, what is fair when it comes to paying for things that are shared? One way that I've heard from other people is that they usually have a joint account. I feel like joint accounts are very, very common. And just to keep things quarrel free, I think a joint account is a good way. Couples who have different earning powers, they usually go by a percentage so that it's more fair that way. Perhaps 30% of your take-home pay and 30% of my take-home pay every month will transfer and put it in a joint account.
I think for unmarried couples, that is a good way. For married couples, I think personally, it's best to look at finances as a whole. Of course, the day-to-day stuff, you want to buy yourself like a makeup product or like a skincare thing, you can just use the joint finances or your finances to buy it. That shouldn't be a problem. But like in terms of making big decisions to buy big things, just example, you want to buy a $5,000 sofa, then it should be a decision that as a household you make together. You'll be like,
yeah, surely.
Is that worth it? Then you'll be like, oh no, actually, you know, the other person say, I don't think we need this. Blah,
surely,
blah.
but that person needs to take into account the other party's views.
Of course, yeah. But, I mean, both have to take account each other's views lah. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's the same for day-to-day household, wedding, holidays. For us, it's very blurred. But I feel like, you know, we're already a married couple. You don't have to be very geek out over it lah. It's just money at the end of the day. You have your whole lifetime to earn it. Do we fight? Obviously. Actually, we do fight quite a lot. How do we resolve them?
Talk them out, I guess. I mean, every couple has arguments. I don't think there's think there's a couple that's argument free. I mean, two humans come together and live together, they're bound to be conflicts. Just have to talk it out lor, and like communicate well.
I feel like something we both learn is that he cannot see anything else but his own points whenever he's angry. For me, my job is to also kind of like, you know what, you're at this state now, let me take a step back, and instead of going in and be like, I want your answer now, I want you to side with me, I want you to agree with me, like instead of doing that and forcing him in that state, he's obviously not gonna give me my answer, and he's gonna be saying a lot more things that are unnecessary and that would hurt me even more, or you know, just make the situation worse. So for me, my part would be to take a step back and be like, okay, look, you are in that state now, so maybe we can revisit this 10 minutes later. Let's calm down, let's both calm down. I think it's different now, like different couples different.
I think for guys especially, I think what, you know, you hear a lot that girls and guys handle things very differently. Girls very emotional and guys are not, and then you hear that time and time again. You hear it a
emotional.
lot. You hear it a lot, but you don't actually understand it. I mean, I'm sure most couples out there, sometimes you do something small that is so insignificant to you, but the girl can react so strongly to whatever you do.
You better be careful.
No, I'm saying, I'm pretty sure. Wait, just let me talk. It's like, I'm sure every single couple in the world goes through the same thing. So you just have to realize that both guys and girls think very differently, which is why there's misunderstanding. You just need to recognize that, and
that is different.
And that's why it stems
and
there.
You cannot use your own reasoning, your own standard of like, oh, I only when I get this, then I will be at peace. And you cannot just pin it on the other person, because different people have different threshold for certain things, different priorities, different love languages. So it's just, you have to see things from both sides.
What doesn't affect you at all might affect the person a lot. So you just have to take that into consideration.
Are we gonna have a baby soon? Maybe in 2 years? Or 1 year?
1, 2 years?
Yeah. How is it like living with my in-laws? I actually really like it, and I'm so glad that I'm spending circuit breaker with them, because if not, it's just gonna be more quiet. And with them around, you know, I don't have to worry about anything. Like, they really take care of us very well. Yeah. We also have a helper to help us with household chores and cooking. And Matt's mom makes really, really good food, and she also loves coffee, which I also love. Yeah, we have a lot of common topics. She loves Korean dramas. Right now, we are just like having a lot of fun with them around? Do you think it's okay to check each other's phones?
I think it's okay. Personally, I think it's okay. Like, I wouldn't mind. But I think it's a matter
You wouldn't mind
of
checking or wouldn't mind being checked?
both ways lah. I think it's a matter of trust, right? That people don't. Yeah, honestly, I don't really have a problem with it. How about you?
Honestly, I also don't really have a problem with it, but I don't do it because to even reach that state of mind where I have to think like, oh my gosh, is he cheating on me? Is he hiding from me? Like, I think that in itself is so tiring already to put myself through it, like, especially if there's really nothing, then like, for what I do that, right? And I feel like even if there's something, the truth will reveal itself somehow in some way. I really believe that women have our own intuitions. For me, if I feel like there's something off, it might not be something you did, you said, or anything. Like, it's just a feeling. That's when I think I will go and check it, but I don't really see a need to. And I don't mind you checking my phone, so I don't even open my WhatsApp. You also know.
It's like 100 messages.
I know. I'm really the worst like texter. I just like to be by myself. How do you allocate time for each other since both of you have such tight schedules for work?
We drive together to work every morning. She wakes up early for me, and then we spend some time in the car. While I drive, she does her makeup. At night, we still have a bit of time for each other, usually when I get back home.
Because I don't sleep that early. Most of the time when he comes home, I'll still be working as well. And we have the weekends, like for me, because I do freelance work, right? So I try to make it a point to not take on jobs on weekends, and I try to just clear all of my work on weekdays so that I have the weekend with him.
Yeah.
Even if I really do have work stuff, he will make it a point to accompany me to my work stuff. And if he wants to meet his friends, sometimes he allows me to come along with him.
Most of the time.
Yeah, most of the time.
I think most of our friends... I think
like our
most
friends
of
are just mashed together already. Like even with my
together.
girls, like he comes along with me. My friends always say like, hey mom, obviously you're 1+1, you know, like every time I say like, oh, can Matt come? And then they're like, mom, we just take it that you're buy one get one free. do you find it like boring to be with us?
No.
I think he's quite rare. Like he really doesn't mind just sitting there like listening to the girls like talk and gossip and just shop for clothes and stuff. We do have quite a lot of university related questions. I assume because we met in university. Does your degree dictate where you go in life?
Yes and no, I guess.
I'm the prime example of my degree doesn't dictate where I go in life or what I do in life. For me, I graduated from SMU accounting and I'm creating content. I'm doing like social media marketing. I'm doing modeling, filming, acting, hosting. Just completely different. I didn't even study marketing or anything. For me, if you ask me, the answer is a big no. But for him, he studied finance and he's now a banker, so...
Does a degree dictate where you go in life? Definitely not. I think it's more of the other way around. It's like more of what do you want to do and do you need a degree to get there? Yeah. I mean, even with my degree or whatever degree you can possibly get, if you want to be someone like her, it's going to be impossible through a degree, right? As in like the degree doesn't get you there.
It does. So you have marketing, you have mass comm, you have graphic designing.
Yeah, but there's so many...
As in, it's related.
Yeah, but there's so many other different aspects that you need to be a successful person in your position. It takes a lot more than a degree, basically, that's what I'm saying. Whereas for me, my job requires some sort of degree. If you don't have that kind of degree, you wouldn't be able to get into it. So it really depends on the job you're looking at.
Yeah, but I feel like as long as you put your heart and soul into doing something and you can see yourself doing it long term and still be happy, and of course it has to be sustainable financially or even like emotionally. It doesn't always dictate where you go, but it's like how you get there.
I feel it's never too late in life. If you want to do something, you can always find out what you need to get there, and then no matter how old you are, you can always find your way there somehow.
Yeah.
I mean, through hard work.
Just like our top Korean student over here.
I gotta do anything.
Because you're kind of old and kind of like not interested in Korean, but you freaking like so good at it.
I'm not very good at it.
Still very sour about how he always beats me in all the exams. When do you know what you wanted to do? I didn't even know what I wanted to do, even right up to graduation. I was like very lost because I knew that accounting wasn't really for me, but I was also very scared to steer off the path of what, you know, I was very comfortable and in for 4 years, right? Thinking that my degree is like my pathway to lead me there. But eventually what made me decide to pursue this was actually, he was actually encouraging me quite a bit because he was saying, you've been doing this like like part-time while studying for like 2 years and this is what you achieve, which is not bad. But what about if you were to do it full-time? And all you have to do is maybe just give yourself a cut-off date lah. 2 years, like really chiong it and see how far you can go, whether or not you still like it after 2 years. And if you don't, then you can always go back to the workforce.
I think she was very discouraged because at that point in time, being an influencer wasn't really a real job at that point in time. And a lot of people probably didn't really see it as a real job, which is what she was worried about. I was thinking that she enjoys it so much. I don't think she enjoys what she studied. So I think to me, it was a no-brainer.
Yeah, then for you, you knew you wanted to be a banker. Like freaking at 18 years old or something, or?
No, for me, it's because when I first joined university, there was a group of seniors that I met who talked to me about, you know, the good jobs out there and what they were doing. So I was quite inspired by them. So I think in the first year of my university, I already kind of knew what I was aiming for.
You can see the difference between the two of us. He's like a go-getter. From the onset, he already knew what he wanted to do and he was planning his way to get there. Whereas for me, I'm like, just doing what I like, you know, and everything, and like, oh, as long as I'm happy, blah blah blah, you know. And then at the end of the day, I'm like, oh no, shit, like it's graduation time. What do I do now?
A lot of people go through that.
Yeah. So I think the point of this is to tell y'all that eventually you will know what you want, I guess. You just have to let yourself have the time to think about it, and avoiding it is not a solution. Sometimes you do need people like them to just slap you and wake you up and be like, look, it's time for you to think about this already. Stop like avoiding the question.
I think for those people who are in university now, a lot of people don't know what they want to do, but you'll realize that when you reach your final year or your penultimate year, you'll be forced to think about it and you'll be forced to work hard. I think a lot of people at that point in time, they regret not thinking about it earlier. So if you're in your first few years, it definitely pays to kind of do your research and speak to people about it.
Pros and cons of going for overseas exchange for 6 months.
No cons. Just
no
pros.
cons.
Yeah, just go.
Just pros. Yeah, if you can, just go.
Yeah.
Of course, the cons is money lah. I mean, for me, I really had to save up a lot to pay for everything myself.
It's worth it. Just go.
But in a heartbeat, I would do it like all over again. But just make sure that you try your best not to mix with too bad of company when you're there and not let yourself completely go.
I think people right now can't really go also.
Yeah, unfortunately. But if the world heals and get better and overseas exchange resumes, highly recommend, like without a doubt.
Yeah.
The question would be, would it be good to go with your boyfriend or your girlfriend?
Yeah, it's very good. I enjoyed it. I think for us especially, we were like together for
3 years?
2-3 years.
Yeah,
I think
3
that
years.
kind of uncovered a lot of problems we had. You know, in every relationship you have differences and you need to iron out your differences. So when you spend a lot of time together, that's where we really grew together.
Yeah. I would say it really depends. Like we also know a lot of couples that broke up while they were on exchange and that left things quite messy. But thankfully for us, you know, we saw it as an opportunity to get to know each other better. And yeah, we realized that we could live with each other for 6 months without killing each other. We still look back on our exchange days very fondly.
One of our best memories for sure.
Yeah. And we created so many funny memories and like we have so many funny stories.
I think what's important is the time period you go also.
Yeah.
You just make sure that you don't clash with the interviews that you have for your job and stuff like that. Wow, this is a proper
so
consideration.
nerdy, oh my god!
What? I thought this is a tips video.
I think that is pretty much it. So thank you guys so much for watching. We are gonna be filming another video soon, so stay tuned for that. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe, and of course chat with us in the comments box down below. I really like to see what you guys think as well. Everything that we've shared, our tips and advice, is really like based on our own personal experiences and also the people around us. So it can be really different for different people as well. So do take that in mind. I would love to hear your thoughts. Talk to us. See you next time. Bye!
Why is the thing square box on my face? Only.
Because if the square was on your face means you're the uglier one. It's still on you!
It's sticking to your face.